Here at the Rogers Center, along with Buck Martinez and Arash Madani. I'm Dan Schulman. Glad you're with us in Albert Pujols' final regular season game for sure. I mean, if these two teams meet in the World Series, Albert's coming back. But other than that, this would be his last game ever at the Rogers Center. He has played here a lot, and he's hitting in the cleanup spot again tonight for the Cardinals. Again, no Paul Goldschmidt, no now Nolan Arenado. So you got Burnaby's Tyler O'Neill hitting in the 3 spot, and Albert Pujols hitting cleanup. 6 home runs in his career here at the Rogers Center. Of course, spent a bunch of years as an Angel. And for the second time this year, the Cardinals will face Kevin Gausman.
Yeah, Gausman faced the Cardinals in St. Louis back in May and had a pretty good outing. Went 6 innings, no runs on 4 hits, had a no decision, his first scoreless outing of the season. And John Snyder talked about both Barrios and Gausman facing the Cardinals for a second time this year. He said, I'm not concerned about that. It's been a long time. He's a little bit different pitcher. He went through a stretch of 4 rough games, but his last 5 games have been very good. Of course, 3 starts ago, he got hit with a comebacker off the bat of Wander Franco, but John Snyder says the ankle is 100%. It is not an issue. Tonight, it's all about location, like it is with every pitcher. Gausman has to get his fastball up and his splitter down. And he has used his fastball up and down very effectively lately, but that splitter is always key for his success. He had 10 strikeouts his last time out against Boston in just 5 innings in that blowout last Friday night.
Making his 19th start of the season. Got Danny Jansen behind the plate. Brian Onora is the home plate umpire tonight. Roof open, a little cloudy, a little cool, but still a nice summer night here for a ball game. As Tommy Edman steps in for the Cardinals, their shortstop, who went 2 for 4 last night, hitting .259 on the season. And underway with a fastball in there for a called strike. Looks like it'll be another nice crowd. Figures to be in excess of 30,000, almost 40,000 here last night. Edman, a switch hitter, not a lot of power, but good speed, uses the whole field. And a pretty important player in the grand scheme of things for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he's been an awfully good player. Man, infield hit against Gausman last season. He's just 1 for 7 against Kevin, going head to head.
Fastball in the air down the left field line, but this will be about 10 rows back into the seats.
They mentioned Gausman faced the Cardinals this year in May. Last year, pitching for the Giants on the 5th of July, he really had a terrific game. Cardinals were in San Francisco. He was matched up against Won Young Kim, and they both had a terrific outing, both pitching 7 innings. And Gausman had a stretch of 16 straight retired in that game last summer.
And the splitter bounced foul, well located. Edman got a piece of it.
Yeah, that's going to be a good indication of whether or not Gausman will have a good night. If he can get the Cardinal hitters to chase that low splitter, because then you get him thinking about balls knee high, and he can elevate the fastball up around the letters, and that's when you really have the upper hand, when you have batters thinking about top and bottom of the strike zone.
One-two again, and he got him. Different kind of movement on that splitter to strike him out.
Well, the Blue Jays have had a great season of defense. Only the Mariners and Yankees have committed fewer errors than the Blue Jays, just 45 as a team. Tapia, Springer, and Hernandez from left to right in the outfield. Bichette and Biggio up the middle. That's a good combination and has been for a while. Chapman and Guerrero at the corners, and Jansen behind the plate. Danny Jansen has played very well, but this guy over here, he's a defensive wizard. You know, a couple years ago, 2018, he made 20 errors for the Oakland A's, but at the same time, during that season, he had 30 defensive runs saved and won a Platinum Glove that year.
I think right now the Blue Jays feel their infield defense could compare to just about anybody in the major leagues. Of course, Chapman over at third. Bo Bichette's been playing much better the last couple of months at short. Espinal playing most of the time at second, and Biggio has been solid when he's been there, and Vladdy's been a plus defender at first, and that's not even talking about the catchers.
Yeah, no, they have really played well defensively, and it goes back to their work ethic. They have worked hard each and every day, every single day. You see all the infielders out taking their short hop drills from Luis Rivera, and they are well prepared when they step on the diamond to start a ball game.
Dylan Carlson, the batter. And a 2-1 count on the Cardinals center fielder, who went 2 for 5, including a home run in last night's game. That fastball was down, and Gausman mixing in lower fastballs at times. If they're thinking, hey, if it's down, I'm not chasing, sometimes he can sneak a fastball in for a called strike at the bottom of the zone. 2-2.
Gausman identified it, and very aware as a pitcher now at 31 years old. He's been around. He's pitched quite a while, and he understands, hey, if the ball is up, it's going to be a fastball. If the ball's down, it's going to be a splitter. So that's why he's mixed in more low fastballs to give the hitter something else to think about. He was pretty predictable there for a while.
Heavily reliant on the 2 pitches, although he does mix in a slider to the right-handed batters. And look at that swing. I mean, that ball was almost in Danny Jansen's mitt when Carlson decided to swing at it.
Yeah, and Kevin will throw a few changeups from time to time, and it's very difficult for us to determine which is which, but you can see the grip here. That's obviously the splitter with great late movement, and all Carlson can do is protect the plate and foul it off, trying to get a more effective pitch to hit than that one.
Fastball that jams him in the air down the left field line. Tapia's got room in foul territory. 2 down.
It's always important for a starter to get off to a good start. For 2 quick outs here, you got the strikeout with the splitter, gets a pop up with fastball. And certainly the way this team is scoring runs right now, you want to put up a 0 and let your hitters get to the plate early in this game.
Well, he better not be expecting to be leaving when it's 25-3 like he did on Friday night. I mean, you don't want to get greedy, but that was the Gausman game, that wild one at Fenway Park. I mean, he's one of a handful of pitchers who have ever had that many runs scored for him in a game. And you heard his interview with Arash Madani before the game. He said he spent way more time in the dugout in that game than he did on the mound because the Blue Jays were hitting for like 30 minutes at a time.
And he still threw 108 pitches in 5 innings. He had 10 strikeouts, as we mentioned. He said he was upset that he gave up a pair of home runs in that game.
1-1.
See, now there's a good fastball down in the zone. He threw 2 good fastballs to O'Neill down in the zone, and now you're thinking, okay, if you're a hitter, he's probably going to throw me a splitter. But this is where Gausman can cross him up and elevate the fastball and beat him upstairs. He's got him looking down right now.
Slider outside, 2 balls and a strike. O'Neill, as we mentioned last night, born in Burnaby, went to high school in Maple Ridge. As Adam Wainwright looks on, the soon-to-be 41-year-old will get the start tonight for the Cardinals. Good fastball there, fouled back. 2-2.
You know, when you go up against Kevin Gausman, the league knows that he's got one of the best splitters in baseball. And so Gausman is counteracting that recently with more fastballs. And he's got a good fastball as well.
Getting some support from the crowd here in the top of the first. And a ground ball down to third. Matt Chapman up with it. And Gausman sets down the Cardinals. 1-2-3. The Blue Jays coming up against Adam Wainwright when we come back. Cleanup spot. He's getting ready for what he hopes is an at-bat in the first inning as well, as we show you the Blue Jay lineup. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Santiago Espinal out of the lineup tonight. And we've talked about Matt Chapman, and Matt Chapman deserves to be talked about, not just on the defensive side of the ball, but he has been on a tear recently offensively and had not one but 2 very important RBI singles in last night's game. You kind of forget about it because the final was 10-3, but they were big hits at the time. And this will be interesting. A challenge of a different sort tonight with Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, Wainwright making just his 2nd career start here at Rogers Center. Overall, this is his 3rd start against the Blue Jays. And the challenge is Wainwright will get you to chase. If you chase pitches off the plate, he will dominate you. You have to be patient, take those borderline pitches, and force him to throw you something over the plate.
Springer swings at the first pitch and he fouls it off. George, of course, with a big grand slam, the 3-2 pitch, the line drive to left center for his 7th career grand slam and the Blue Jays' 5th grand slam of the season. The big blow, it made it an 8-3 game. They would go on to win 10-3. And Wainwright out in front 0-2. Wainwright having a good year, a 3.40 ERA. He is 8th in the National League in innings pitched. He is 6th in pitches thrown. He's still a very durable guy. He's thrown a complete game this year, and he's turning 41 in a month. Grounded down to third. Stopped by Donovan, back to his feet, and they will get Springer.
Nice play by Brendan Donovan going to the foul line, and he's got a strong arm, and this guy has played all over the field, literally. He plays all over the diamond for the Cardinals, and right here, this is a bid for extra bases denied by Donovan, and then the strong throw just in time to get George Springer by half a stride. When you get to your feet, you understand Springer's going to be busting it down the line, and he made a good, accurate throw. That gets by him. It's 2 for sure.
So 1 down, and here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who homered in his first at bat last night. A 2-run shot, his 21st home run of the season. Curveball for a strike, and Wainwright's been throwing that curveball since Vladdy was about 3 years old.
Yeah, he's even got the nickname of Uncle Charlie, the old curveball. And the cutter outside missed, but like I said, you got to be patient, and it's tantalizing, and it makes you think you can hit it hard, but boy, you've got to really lay back and use the whole dime, and don't try to pull him because you'll roll to third.
Lined into left, a base hit, and it'll get to the fence, and Vladdy's on his way to second. And is in there just ahead of the throw with a double.
18th double of the season in his game last night. Vladdy hit a home run in the first inning with Springer aboard. Number 21 last night. 18th double of the season, and boy, this is a great swing. This is a two-seam fastball that's up and out over the plate, but watch how quickly he gets to it. He clears his hands inside, and he's able to barrel it up. A lot of guys will pull this ball foul, but because Vladdy gets his hands inside the baseball, he's able to keep it fair, and he hustles in ahead of the throw for a one-out double.
And the Blue Jays, as you can see now, tied with the Red Sox for the American League lead in extra base hits. That ball came off Vladdy's bat at 112.3 miles an hour. And he's in scoring position for Alejandro Kirk, who also homered last night. The Guerrero double gives him an 8-game hitting streak. Kirk brings a 9-game hitting streak into this game tonight. Caught last night, DHing tonight. Sends it the other way. Lars Nootbaar over towards the line to make the catch. Here comes Vladdy, and he's in safely, and now he's out. And I don't know if Guerrero is saying he got pushed off the bag or that he never lost contact with the bag, but Guerrero immediately looking into the dugout and telling them to have a look at the video to see if they want to challenge, but the Blue Jays will not. So Guerrero makes the 3rd out of the inning at third base, and that closes things here in the first. One more look going to break. Was there, and then Pop Pujols in what is likely his final game at the Rogers Center comes up for the first time.
First baseman number 5, Albert Pujols.
Took a while before that smile came through, but you know, he was very appreciative of it last night as well. There are a fair number of Cardinal fans here, and obviously they're going to be standing and cheering, but the Blue Jay fans up on their feet as well in recognition of one of the greatest careers that any of us has ever seen.
Yeah, and you know, you just look at his numbers, and he's among the leaders in so many categories, and an all-time guy offensively, and just a class act as well. And he's always acknowledged the fans, whether he's in St. Louis, whether he's in LA with the Angels, or traveling on the road.
And he scorches one into left center for a base hit. A leadoff single for Pujols here in the second.
Well, one thing about Albert Pujols is he can hit, and obviously he doesn't run like he did early in his career, and he was a guy that was a pretty good base runner as well. Never fast by any means, but he's 11th all time in active batting average.
You know what he's doing, Buck? He's lecturing Vladdy about getting thrown out at third.
Yeah.
Like playfully, but not.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
what are you
that's
doing?
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we talked about this last night, how he's anxious to spread his experience and knowledge to his teammates and to his opponents.
Brendan Donovan looks at a strike. You got to imagine if you're Albert Pujols. I mean, he has taken an interest in speaking with and mentoring a lot of young players. We saw that with Santiago Espinal. But if you're Albert, I would guess that somebody like Vladdy you'd be particularly interested in. Let's not forget, Albert was a teammate of Vlad Sr. with the Angels. He knew Vladdy when Junior was like 12, 13, 14 years old, hanging out with his dad in Anaheim.
Yeah, and you know what? He takes so much pride in representing his home country, Dominican Republic, and he wants to make sure that everybody who comes from Dominican does the same. And you know what? It's always been something about great players. They hate to see talented young players waste their talent and make mistakes. And, you know, you run into an out at third base with the cleanup guy coming up in the first inning. That's a mistake. I think Albert just politely reminded him, hey, you run in that situation only if you're 100% sure you can make it.
One-two to Donovan, and a swing and a miss. Another good splitter there from Gausman.
Second strikeout, both coming on the splitter. And you know, the splitter is such a great pitch, and it has a couple of different reasons why it's effective. It's movement naturally, but also the lack of velocity. It's a split-fingered fastball. That's the definition of it. It is supposed to mimic a fastball, but because of the grip, it doesn't have the velocity, and it has exceptional movement.
So 1 on, 1 out. Corey Dickerson, the former Blue Jay. He is DHing tonight, hitting just .211 on the season. Went 2 for 4 in last night's game. And he takes the fastball just off the outside corner for ball 1. Dickerson had some good moments for the Blue Jays last year. He did what they wanted him to do. He didn't play every day, but he picked up his base hits. And again, he came to the deal for the Marlins with Adam Simber for Joe Panik and a minor leaguer, and that's a deal that both last year and obviously this year with what Simber has continued to do, it's been a great deal for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and Corey Dickerson did .282 for the Blue Jays in 46 games. He had 4 homers and 15 RBIs, and he served a big purpose. You know, he DH'd, played little in the outfield. And one thing you get with Corey Dickerson is hustle. He never takes a play off. And you're going to get a ground ball more than likely with that splitter and his fastball. And if you do, you're going to have to hustle it around the diamond because Dickerson always hustles out of the box.
A 1-2 count on Dickerson. A short lead by Pujols at first, being held on by Guerrero. And he's running. And it is fouled off. Boy, Albert, with the element of surprise, got an enormous lead to the point where had Gausman been made aware of it, he would have stepped off and thrown him out early, but he was halfway to second base.
Yes, he was. And Gausman was so focused on delivering the pitch that he never heard his teammates say, there he goes. And look at the jump. I mean, he was literally halfway when Gausman unloaded that pitch, and Dickerson, he fouled it off. So the element of surprise is gone.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. He got out so far, he almost stopped because he said, oh boy, he's going to step off and get me. Now, in general, Buck, if that happens, forget Gausman and Pujols, but in general, who's yelling to let the pitcher know, hey, he's going, step off?
Everybody, first baseman, catcher, shortstop, everybody's hollering, hey, there he goes, step off. That's the first thing they say is step off. And when you do that, you recognize that the base runner is on the move, so you got to step off and disengage with the pitching rubber and then make a play.
Well, Albert does have one stolen base this season. I don't know the particulars of it. It wasn't last night, but obviously he's feeling pretty healthy. The legs are feeling good. Just trying to sneak one every now and again. 2-2. And Dickerson late on the fastball.
You remember a couple of years ago in Anaheim, he had such bad problems with his feet, he couldn't play it. But now he feels good, and he's not fast by any means, but you see pretty good percentage of stolen bases, 74% success rate. Early in his career, he ran a little bit more, and obviously he's not going to run very often. But he got a heck of a jump that time.
The idea for Pujols when the Cardinals signed him was to mostly DH and mostly hit against lefties. And he's hitting lefties very well this year. He did last year with the Dodgers as well. He's playing first and in tonight because Paul Goldschmidt is on the restricted list. So Pujols playing a little bit more. But, you know, he's been reasonably productive. His OPS plus is 100, which means in terms of OPS, he's an average player right now. And obviously they like what he's bringing to the table in terms of mentoring the younger players. Swing and a miss. Gausman against Dickerson, 2 down.
Rethink color with Beauty Tone, the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays. Only available at Home Hardware.
As always, glad you're with us tonight. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, and Arash Madani. No score, top of the second in the final game of this quick 2-gamer between the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. The Blue Jays winning last night 10-3. These two teams met in May back in St. Louis and split a pair then. This is Lars Nootbaar, the right fielder, hitting just 196 on the season. Did have a productive night last night, though, with 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. And a fastball there for strike 2.
Gausman's locating his pitches very effectively early in this game. Fastballs up and down for strikes, and then that splitter starts in the strike zone and breaks down and away. Most of the time from the lefties.
Bounced that one in and blocked by Jansen.
You know, back in Roger Clemens' heyday in Boston, he started throwing that split finger pitch, and he and Bruce Hurst threw it a lot, and Richie Gedman was their catcher. And it was imperative that Gedman was a good blocker so you could throw it, and Danny Jansen is right there with Gedman in that category. Pitchers have tremendous confidence in Jansen's ability to block balls in the dirt.
2-2.
You know, everybody talks about the Yankees' great season, and there's no question in my mind one of the major reasons they're so good this year, they got a good catcher. They suffered with Gary Sanchez, and nobody would really say it, but when Garrett Cole decided he wasn't going to throw anymore to Gary Sanchez, that turned the dialogue around, and they made the trade.
2-2 fastball sent high and deep to center. But Springer's got room. The Pujols base hit, but nothing more, and it's on to the bottom of the second.
A week to go now before the trade deadline, and conversations are ramping up all across baseball. And the pitching market, well, the cost of doing business there will not be cheap in advance of Tuesday's trade deadline. It was today that Ross Atkins met with the media, and I asked him what the prices are when it comes to the starters market, and he admitted they are very high. The point he made was, if you're not going to be patient, you'll likely be paying above market value. And at this point, there are probably only 2 or 3 top-end starters up for grabs. 2 of them there. Castillo from Cincinnati. Cincinnati is going to cost a pretty penny to get him. Frankie Montaz off a shoulder issue, went 5 solid innings last night. Velocity topped at 97. Quintana's a lefty, but he's a rental. Now, conversations have picked up significantly across the game with the draft now over. And with less than a week to go, you wonder how much the Juan Soto domino may affect what prices on pitching will be in the lead up, Dan, to August 2nd.
Rash, thank you. We're going to get right back to that, but this was interesting. And again, we're speculating, but I think it's educated speculation that John Schneider went down there to talk to Vladdy about tagging up, coming to third with 2 outs, and it's probably nothing more than, hey, big fella, you could score from second on a base hit too. You got to be sure.
And he probably prefaced by saying, you know better than that. And I vow he does, of course. And when you got Bo Bichette behind you and you're already in scoring position, there's no way, no reason to risk it, especially in the first inning.
It's interesting because Schneider has told us, and he said it today before the ballgame, he does like aggressive baseball. He was talking about the play where Hernandez came to third and Gurriel got thrown out at second last night. So it's a fine line. You want to be aggressive. They feel they've got the kinds of guys who can be reasonably aggressive out there, but it's got to be done in the right situations.
For sure. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with the pitcher. Are you up against a guy that's not going to give you many opportunities to score? And Wainwright is one of those guys. You mentioned how well he's throwing the ball now.
And Wainwright uses that curveball to strike out Bo Bichette. So this is Vladdy. The catch is made in right for the second out, and he does beat the throw, but he pops up off the bag. And Donovan kept the tag on him as Diaz called him out. Vladdy said the toe never came off the bag, but the Blue Jays didn't see enough in the video room to challenge. And this is John Schneider, who has known Vladdy since he was 17 years old. And again, we assume it was about at that play at third. And I'll tell you, when John Schneider goes over and talks to a player, he has their attention.
Yeah, and I think what John was saying is you just barely came off the base because he was holding his fingers apart, his index finger and his thumb, is indicating it was only an inch. But at the same time, you have to understand the situation. Got to give Bo a chance to drive you in. And there's the back end of the conversation. He made his point. Vladdy, of course, played for John in the minors, and he said, if I stick on the base, I'll be all right. But that wasn't the case. No matter what you say or how you try to defend it, you were out. And that's the difference. And that's why John wanted to make that point. These are the type of mistakes that will cost you when you play in the postseason.
And Vladdy's probably having a look at it on the iPad right now. Curveball to Teoscar Hernandez is lined to short. And the catch made by Tommy Edman. 2 down.
But when you're in tight ball games and you're up against better competition, you just can't make those mistakes. Good teams don't make them, and championship teams certainly don't make them. And the Blue Jays haven't made an awful lot of mistakes, and they like the fact that they're aggressive. You put pressure on the defense, and you know what? Vladdy's going to win more games for you than he's going to lose. That's
Absolutely.
for sure.
So here's Cavan Biggio hitting 6th and getting a start at second base tonight. Biggio and Tapia in the lineup. Espinal and Gurriel not in the lineup tonight. And Adam Wainwright has faced Cavan's dad, Craig Biggio. He never faced Vlad Sr. He never faced Dante Bichette, but he did face Cavan's dad, the Hall of Famer Craig Biggio, who went 3 for 11 against him in his career. And I would imagine no matter who you are, when you start facing the sons of guys you faced, you know you're closer to the finish line than the start.
Yeah, Wainwright has been a terrific pitcher for a long time, and he's just one of those guys that you respect. Got 190 career wins, and he's among the leaders in franchise history in St. Louis. It's had some terrific pitchers over the years, of course, led by the great late Bob Gibson.
And he's still got that great curveball. And he strikes out Biggio. So Adam Wainwright doing what he does in the early going here tonight. No score at the end of 2.
Download the app and see for yourself why Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook.
The IndyCar season continues with the Gallagher Grand Prix from the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Catch all the action Saturday at noon Eastern on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet Now. Great to see so many people downtown all the time, and especially when the Blue Jays have a game that night. No score, top 3. This is Nolan Gorman, the rookie second baseman for the Cardinals. Who looks at a fastball at the knees from Kevin Gausman. Gorman last night 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Started off pretty hot, hit for power, hit for average. He has cooled off maybe once around the league, and his team starting to make adjustments, starting to get to know him a little better, but he's a big time prospect in their system as he lines one into right for a base hit.
Yeah, he can really swing the bat. He's going through a little bit of a tough adjustment to the big leagues, but he got off to a great start in the minor leagues, hit a lot of home runs, and because of that, he was rewarded. This is a rare slider that Gausman throws. He doesn't throw many of them, and that one just kind of backed up on the outer half of the plate, and Gorman lined it into right field. So just the second single surrendered so far in this ball game by Kevin Gausman.
The number 9 hitter is the catcher Andrew Kisner. Yadier Molina still on the IL. They're hoping to get him back next week. He's been out several weeks with a knee injury in what is his final season in the big leagues. And it's one of those where even if Molina's not quite what he used to be and doesn't hit much anymore, you can't put a value on what he does behind the plate. They're obviously missing that experience. And for a guy like Wainwright, they've had 314 starts together in their careers, second most all time between a pitcher catcher combo. Mickey Lolich and Bill Freehand for those great Tiger teams. The only combination that has had more starts together than Wainwright and Molina.
Yeah, and it's amazing. They have played both obviously with the same team together for a long time, and you know they almost don't need signs when they work together.
Bunted, foul. Looked like it might be fair, and then just a lot of backspin took it foul. It's the second time a Cardinals tried to bunt for a base hit tonight. Donovan tried to do it too.
Oliver Marmol was the manager, and he's a longtime Cardinal, much like John Schneider in his situation, and this has just popped up, and it looks like it's going to be fair, but the English on the baseball bounces it into foul territory before Danny Jansen could get a glove on it.
The 1-1. Fastball there, 1-2. In Gausman's other start against the Cardinals, May the 24th at Busch Stadium, 6 scoreless innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and threw 105 pitches, which at the time was his season high. He has passed that number 3 times since. Right center field, Springer's there. 1 down.
That was another good pitch on the outer half, down around the knees, and all Kisner could do was hit a soft fly ball into right field, so that'll turn the lineup over with 1 out.
Buck, they brought the signs back again. They are so happy to have you back.
Yeah, it was a special night. I want to thank all the fans for that. They made it a very memorable night, one that I'll never forget for sure.
Here's Tommy Edman, who struck out in his first at bat.
If I'm the Cardinals, I run right here. Gausman missed with the first pitch. Edman can handle the bat. They got decent speed at first base, and They don't have those big bats we talked about. No home run hitters of Arenado and Goldschmidt in this lineup. So I think they might start the runner here and try to create some movement.
Not going, and the pitch misses now. 2-0.
Both of these pitchers are off to a good start tonight. Looks like runs might be tough to come by.
Threw him a 2-0 splitter, but it missed off the outside corner. 3-0. One thing Gausman doesn't do much at all is walk people. Didn't walk anybody against the Red Sox his last time out, and he's only walked 18 batters all season. And this is his 19th start of the season, so averaging about a walk per start this year. And in there with a fastball, 3-1.
Yeah, he's only had one game in which he's walked as many as 3 batters in a particular game, and he did that against the Tigers in Detroit back in June. But he throws a lot of strikes. He's always been among the leaders in first pitch strike and strike percentage.
Well, 2 of the many things he does very well. He doesn't walk people and he doesn't give up home runs. And that's why he was really upset he gave up 2 against Boston. But again, it was like 22-2. It's a different kind of a game. And you're just trying to, pound the zone. But he believes, hey, if you don't walk people and you don't give up home runs, it's going to take 3 hits to score a run. And he feels pretty good about his chances of minimizing damage.
Yeah, he's surrendered home runs in just 4 of his 19 starts so far this season.
Gorman going here. 3-2, swing and a miss. Throw down and not in time. So Edman strikes out. Gorman steals second. There are 2 down.
Yeah, Jansen made a pretty good throw. The throw was a little bit high, and Bo tried to tag the base runner high, and I think Bo may have gotten hit by Gorman's helmet. Watch the throw from Jansen. It's up. He's got to reach for it, and then Bo felt something hit his forearm. It might have been Gorman's arm, as they just banged arms right there. And Bo felt the impact of Gorman sliding in and then popping up and hit him with his forearm.
Bo not looking at it, or at least outwardly favoring it anymore. Seems to be all right. A runner at second, 2 down now for Carlson, who lifted a fly ball down the left field line in foul territory. Tapia made the catch. That was back in the first. Carlson a switch hitter. The Cardinals have 2 switch hitters at the top of the lineup, at Edman and Carlson. Gives Ollie Marmol some flexibility and some platoon advantages. A little bit low, ball 2.
Yeah, all of a sudden that strike zone is bouncing around on Kevin Gausman, and Carlson's got some pop. He hit a home run in the first inning on a 2-2 fastball last night against Jose Barrios.
Fastball there, 2-1.
Carlson was looking off speed right there. He got a good fastball to hit, and I think he was disappointed. He guessed wrong.
Well, that tells you how much they respect the splitter, that you get a 2-0 fastball that catches a lot of the plate. You can't swing.
Sometimes hitters outsmart themselves. Where you go up there looking for a fastball, you get a 2-0 count, and just look for the fastball. There's no reason not to, and he had a breaking ball in his mind. And you know what? I never used to look for a breaking ball, and Charlie Lau told me a long time ago, you can't hit it, so don't look for it.
A long look back at the runner in the 2-1. And that one fouled off over near the Blue Jay dugout. 2-2. We've seen a lot of different shapes to Gausman's splitter tonight. Some diving straight down and some moving a little bit more horizontally away without as much depth.
Yeah, and he'll make some adjustments, and he does it by sliding his thumb up and down the baseball. Slide it underneath, he'll slide it to the top. When you slide it to the top, you get a little more dramatic movement down and away from the left-handed hitters.
The 2-2. Outside in a full count. Tyler O'Neill hoping for a shot. He's in the on-deck circle. Left center field, Tapia over, not going to get there. It'll split the outfielders and get to the fence. Gorman in to score on an RBI double by Carlson as the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the outfield for the Blue Jays has shifted way around against Carlson, and Tapia was over toward the line in left field, and that ball split the outfielders and ran up against the fence. So Carlson knocks in the first run of the game. He did the same last night with his first inning home run. Boy, he stays on that pitch, and that's the pitch he was looking for, 2-0, and he gets it on a full count and comes up with an RBI single. Tapia had no chance as that ball was right at the 375 mark. I mean, dead center up the left center alley.
So now O'Neill, who grounded out to third in his first at bat. Inside corner for a called strike. O'Neill, a really important piece of this Cardinal team the last couple of years. Missed 23 games with a hamstring injury earlier this season. Came back about just over a week ago as Gausman jumps out in front 0-2. And just high.
When O'Neill thought about it, he flinched and was able to lay off that high fastball off the plate and just a little bit upstairs.
It's a guy who has represented Canada in the past. I thought I saw somewhere today that he is in for the World Baseball Classic. I don't want to put my words in on him, but I thought I saw that somewhere today. Freddie Freeman has said he is going to play for Canada again next March, which is great. Hopefully O'Neill will be there as well.
Mike Trout talks about playing for the U.S., but now Mike Trout's dealing with an injury issue that might keep him from doing that.
And a back situation that apparently is going to require a lot of maintenance. World Baseball Classic coming in March. Swing and a miss. Gausman against O'Neill for his 5th strikeout of the game. The Cardinals get a run to take a 1-0 lead. And the red-hot Matt Chapman is going to lead off the bottom half of the inning for the Blue Jays. Blue Jays, one of their hottest hitters in recent weeks. This is when Albert Pujols was rounding the bases. Lars Nootbaar flied out to end the inning, and Matt Chapman coming over and talking to Albert, a little pat on the chest, a little pat on the back. And I think for a lot of these, accomplished major league players, they still know this might be the last time they ever play in a game against Albert Pujols, and that means something to these guys.
Yeah, and you know what? He's been such a great major leaguer, and it looked like Matt Chapman wanted to say, hey, man, good luck, and I appreciate having a chance to play against you and watching you play, and he is respected far and wide for sure.
They would have seen a lot of each other, Angels and A's, as Wainwright misses just low, ball 1 to Chapman. Again, 2 big RBI singles in last night's game. One of them came in the first inning and the other one in the 6th inning. Remember, setting the stage for what eventually became the George Springer Grand Slam. But Chapman has had some really important hits in the last couple of weeks for the Blue Jays, and his numbers, they're not creeping up there. They're moving up in a hurry right now.
I had a very good conversation with Matt before the game early on, and we got to talking about what's different the last couple of weeks. He said, I went to the hitting coaches and said, I need some help. I'm hitting 220. I'm a better player than that, and I need some guidance from you guys. And he said to a man, Guillermo Martinez, Dave Hudgens, they have done a great job. And you know what? It's all about trusting your coaches. And when you come to a new team, coaches are aware. They don't want to ambush you and say, hey, you got to hit like this because you're with the Blue Jays now. So last couple of weeks, he has gotten some good advice, and he's turned it into some good numbers.
At the beginning, he admitted he really tried a little bit too hard as he backs away from this upstairs fastball. Coming to a new team, you want to impress your new teammates. And then there's no question he hit in tough luck. I mean, he's been among the exit velocity and hard hit percentage leaders all season long. His luck has evened out a little bit. Curveball that he gets a piece of to stay alive.
Had a good cut at that ball. Looking for a curveball there. But you know what? He said, throughout my career, from the moment I signed into my major league career into 2019, I always hit upright. I always stood tall. He said I had an OPS of over 800 throughout my minor league career into the big league career. Of course, he had a 36 home run season back in 2018. And then he had the hip surgery at the end of the 2020 season. And he said, my body is not the same as it was when I first signed.
Swing and a miss. Wainwright gets him with a cutter. One down. Well, we were talking about the World Baseball Classic and that it's coming back. Qualifying rounds for the Classic take place September the 10th through October the 5th in both Panama and Germany. For more information, visit worldbaseballclassic.com. So teams will come out of the qualifying rounds to join some of the nations who automatically get qualified. Among those, of course, Canada, the United States, the Dominican, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. But there will be other countries that will try to qualify. You've been involved in this event as a manager and as a broadcaster, and I know you love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite events, and I'm glad to see it coming back. And guys are now committing early on. It was a challenge early on, first year in 2006, but there's some great players that have committed to playing.
Danny Jansen high and deep to left center, but playable just shy of the track for Carlson. Two down.
I think the beauty of the WBC is you see so many different personalities, and you mentioned Jordan Romano played for Italy the last time they had the WBC. And, you know, Israel had a great run the last time they played. And everybody takes a lot of pride. And I think Romano, if he has an opportunity, will probably play against Italy again, having played for them once and feeling like, hey, I've got a responsibility to them now that he's an established big leaguer.
Canada's in a pool with the United States, Mexico, Colombia, and one of the qualifying teams. Games will be played in Japan, Taiwan, and then at various spots in the United States as well. Here's Raimel Tapia getting a start in left field. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. out of the lineup tonight. John Schneider was asked about, you know, who's in, who's out. It's really 11 semi-regulars for 9 spots. And he said the Blue Jays believe giving guys a little bit of rest will keep them healthier, improve their performance, and keep everybody involved so that if you need somebody off the bench, there's not too much rust on them.
And tonight he suggested, hey, you know, I know that Espinal and Gurriel aren't playing, but I got their bats on the bench. Should it come up later in the game where I need a key at bat, these two guys are available, and they've been playing every single day. But it also gives everybody a feeling like, hey, we're a big part of this team, and this team has got great character, and they pull for one another. They're like a band of brothers.
And Tapia's been doing great. I mean, started slowly, but has really come on, hitting over 350 his last 38 games. drove in 10 runs in the Red Sox series.
Now, Dave Hudgens told me before the game today that Tapia is one of those guys that will always seek him out early on to get information about the pitcher he's facing on a given night. And Tapia, and now you can see Hudgens and Chapman discussing his last at bat. But I think Tapia has delivered much more than the Blue Jays expected. When they made the trade, they traded him for Randall Grichuk, and you know, Grichuk was kind of redundant, a right-handed outfielder. It was going to be a fourth-man outfielder, but Tapia, being left-handed, having speed, gives you another dimension that's really complemented this offense.
Hitting the ball harder than he ever has. Still good contact rates. Barely walks, the second lowest walk rate among any qualified hitter in the majors. And a guy like Wainwright's going to be in the zone, so he's got Tapia in swing mode. But this is what Tapia can do. It's not always the prettiest looking swing, but he'll foul off some pitches and he'll spray the ball around the field.
Yeah, you mentioned he only has 9 walks and 48 strikeouts, and with I love the contrasting styles between Gausman and Wainwright. And Wainwright obviously did throw all of this like his whole career. He threw a little bit harder early on.
Curveball hit down the right field line, but hooking foul. At the distance.
And he stayed back on that curveball, and rewards that fan with a nice souvenir. But yeah, he's got a little more pop than people expect. And when you see him, he's a little bit bigger than you might think. He's about 6'3", he's muscular, he's broad shoulder, he's got a lot of strength. He's hanging tough, isn't he?
Yeah, the battle continues.
But Wainwright in this game hasn't left too many pitches out over the plate. He's been on the corners, on the edges, throwing breaking balls down and out of the strike zone and gotten the Blue Jays to chase.
And a bouncer up the middle, scooped up by the shortstop Edman. Tapia and the Blue Jays are retired, and it's 1-0 Cardinals at the end of 3.
Less is more these days for Kevin Gausman, and it's not just because of the ongoing recovery from his ankle injury. It's more about veteran wisdom. Look, it's coming up on month 5 of the season, and what Gausman's understood is that throwing fewer pitches between starts will go a long way to preserve the arm and the body, and that's part of the conversation he's going to have with Alek Manoah. See, the big man is about to set a career high in innings in a season. Manoah may even get to 200 at this pace. But Gausman's point is, we want you, Alek, pitching in October and feeling good and not grinding through your outings then when we need you at your best. So as Manoah learns more and more of the roller coaster of what a full 162 actually is, Gausman's message to him is going to be, listen to your body, know when to back off over the 5-day rotation if it means you'll be more fresh for start day.
And it's tough. You know, Manoah's a big, strong guy, and he's young, and he's excited, and he's having all kinds of success. And, you know, at that age, I'm sure you want to go. But, you know, guys like Gausman, Stripling, who have been doing this for a while, they can, Phelps out of the bullpen, they can help some of the younger guys over the course of the long season.
And it's always better coming from your peers than it is from your pitching coach. Pete Walker can tell Manoah, hey, you know, we got to conserve your innings and you're going to pitch in October. But when a pitcher comes to you, especially a pitcher like Stripling or Gausman that has been established, it has more impact, more of an impact. And Manoah just hasn't pitched much.
That's a fair ball off the end of the bat. Pujols squibs it right over the bag, and he's going to head into second with a double. 2 for 2 on the night.
Well, I tell you what, he's a smart hitter because he's able to stay on that ball and keep it fair down the right field line. He can smile about it now, but it's another extra base hit. And it's interesting, Gausman has given up a couple of hits on this slider, and he just doesn't throw many of them. And that one was right off the end of the bat, and Pujols is able to bounce it past first all the way down the line. And you can see Teos's got a long run So he's got longer to run to get that ball than Pujols does from first to second.
I think Pujols is hearing it from Matt Chapman right now about that double. Here's Brendan Donovan. And that'll be a base hit into shallow right. Albert's getting the wave. And is out at the plate. Boy, oh boy, nobody out in the inning. And he is sent home and thrown out. Teoscar Hernandez getting it done.
Ron Werner, the third base coach, recognized that ball wasn't hit hard. It probably wasn't going to get to Teoscar, but that's the 8th outfield assist and a big throw. And what a tag by Danny Jansen. Jansen gets a tough short hop, but Pujols hustling toward third base, and you can see it bounces a couple of times before Teoscar gets it, and Werner was waving him home all the while. But Danny Jansen did a great job of going directly up the baseline, takes the short hop, and it puts the tag on Pujols before he could reach home. Just holding on to that baseball is key for Danny Jansen. He made a nice play on the short hop. Pujols takes a look back, and he knows there's going to be a play at the plate, and boy, Jano made a terrific grab on that short hop throw, and that's a big out for the Blue Jays, obviously. Cut down a run at the plate.
Here's Corey Dickerson, who struck out against Gausman his first time up. Albert looked surprised as he rounded third that he was being sent. You talked about how he kind of looked over his left shoulder briefly, almost as if to say, like, what's going on? Why are you sending me?
That's a great point, and I agree with you. I think the ball wasn't hit hard, so Pop Warner, the third base coach, recognized Teoscar had a long way to come and get it. But at the same time, he's got a good arm and an accurate arm, and he made a terrific throw. And boy, that's a big first out of an inning. Double play gets you out of it now.
Fouled back, 1-1.
See, now if Pujols gets a single, Vladdy can say, hey, man, you made the first out at home. What was up with that?
That's right.
Albert said, hey, I was just following instructions. My coach said go, so I was running.
The lead by Donovan. And this one sent to right center. Teoscar closing the gap, and he's there. 2 down.
So Pujols stops at third. That probably leads to a run. Sacrifice fly into right center, but now it's just the second out of the inning and a man at first.
Talking about it with his manager, Ollie Marmol. So Marmol's what, 36?
Yeah. Now it's
Albert's 42. And Wainwright's turning 41 next month.
Yeah.
Here's Lars Nootbaar, 0 for 1. On the corner with the knees, 0-1. That doesn't happen very often, where a major league manager is younger than a couple of his players. I don't know if rarity is too strong, but it can't be common.
It is very rare. There's no question about it. But Marmol's been in the organization quite a while, and he has a lot of respect of players.
This one is going to be fair and down towards the corner, and again it's a long run for Teoscar. Donovan is getting the wave around third. The throw to Guerrero, it'll come to third, and Vladdy with an absolute rocket of a throw to third to get Nootbaar, but the run will count. Donovan crossed the plate before the out at third, but 2 really good defensive plays by the Blue Jays this inning, helping to minimize the damage. Hernandez overthrows the first cutoff man. Vladdy immediately turns and fires for the third out at third. In the top half of the 4th inning, the Cardinals do get a run, but the half inning ends. The run will score. You can see Donovan crossing the plate right there, and that is well before the throw to third and the tag on the runner. But that's why, as that lead runner, you always got to run hard. If something's going on behind you, you got to make sure you get to the plate. Just a great throw from Vladdy, who of course was a third baseman, and he loves to show off that arm.
Yeah, he's got a very strong arm and a very accurate arm, and he had an instinctive play right there. He knew immediately they had no shot at the guy at home. Teoscar was way over in the gap in right center, so when he got the cutoff throw, he thought, my out is at third base, and he made a heck of a throw.
So 2-0 Cardinals. The Blue Jays have managed just one hit off Adam Wainwright through 3. Wainwright has faced the minimum because Guerrero was thrown out trying to advance to third on a fly ball. They got George Springer to ground out to third his first time up. And again, the curveball taken for a strike. And nobody in the majors has had more called strikes this year than Adam Wainwright. You got to believe a ton of them have been with the curveball. Diving stop, Donovan back to his feet, and the stretch by Pujols to get Springer.
Donovan's made 2 good plays against George Springer. He went to the foul line and took extra bases away back in the first inning, and here this time he dives to his left, takes a hit away again, makes a strong throw. Pujols hangs in there, makes a good stretch. So Springer has tried Donovan twice so far in this game, and he's 0 for 2. A couple of good plays by the Cardinals' third baseman.
He's got the dirtiest uniform in the game right now between the defense and the base running. Here's Vladdy, doubled into the left field corner in his first AB. When Wainwright was drafted by Atlanta, Vladdy was 2 years old. 3 years later, Wainwright was traded from Atlanta to St. Louis. J.D. Drew was the big name going the other way. And so Wainwright, the only team he's been with in the major leagues has been the Cardinals. Good curveball, 1-2.
Yeah, and J.D. Drew obviously was a terrific player for the Cardinals. And, you know, you give up a good player. Jason Marquis and Ray King also went from St. Louis. Went from Atlanta to St. Louis. J.D. Drew and Eli Marrero, a catcher.
A bouncer over the head of Donovan. Boy, when you're Vladdy, you hit him so hard. Even when you hit him down on the ground, they bounce so high they go over the third baseman's head.
Yeah, he's able to square up the baseball, and this was beat right into the ground, right in front of home plate, and takes a one bounce over the third baseman's glove. Donovan doing everything he could, but it was beyond his reach, so Vladdy is 2 for 2. He had a bullet for a double, and now he's got a bouncing ball single to left field. Good hitters just know how to rock up hits. I mean, just like Pujols.
Yep.
Pujols hit one just inside the base at first base for a double.
Here's Alejandro Kirk, retired on a fly ball to right field in his first at bat.
Kirk's one of the best fastball hitters in the game, and this is a real challenge for him because he's going to get an assortment of curveballs, cutters, off-speed pitches from Adam Wainwright.
This is the second start that Adam Wainwright has made in this ballpark, and the first one was in 2010. He pitched 5 innings in that game and gave up 3 home runs. 2 of them to Vernon Wells and 1 of them to Adam Lind. So he's gone 12 years between starting in this ballpark. Cardinals haven't been here since 2014.
Isn't it interesting how dramatic the rosters are? I mean, you know, that was 12 years ago, obviously, 13 years ago, and you think some of those players, I mean, most of the players on the Blue Jays are all retired.
Aaron Hill, Lyle Overbay, Jose Molina. There were 2 Molinas starting in that game. Brandon Morrow started that game for the Blue Jays and went 8 scoreless innings. Matt Holliday played in that game for the Cardinals. His kid was just taken first overall last week. The 3-1 to Kirk. I think Alejandro thinks he might have missed his pitch right there.
Yeah, you don't get too many pitches over the heart of the plate against Adam Wainwright, and Kirk's facing Wainwright for the first time. He hit the fly ball to right field that Vladdy decided to tag up at second base. It turned it into a double play, a 9-6-5 double play. That ended the bottom of the first inning.
Vladdy's running, and the 3-2 sent foul up the first baseline. So they had the man in motion with a full count and 1 out, trusting Kirk's ability to make contact.
Yeah, nobody puts the ball in play better than Alejandro Kirk with 2 strikes. He's got the best batting average in baseball with 2 strikes. So you trust that at least he's going to put the ball in play. And if he does hit a ball on the ground, you try to stay out of a double play with Vladdy starting at first base.
So with that being the reasoning behind it, if they did it before, they'll probably do it again. And he's going again. Swing and a miss by Kirk. Throw down on a bounce. Safe. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. steals second.
His first stolen base of the season. He is 1 for 2. And the reason he is safe is because the ball bounced short of second. And the second baseman had to make a play on the short hop. It's a breaking ball. Kirk strikes out, and watch the bounce. And you see how the glove of Gorman goes up to take the short hop, and Vladdy's able to slide under the tag before Gorman could get the glove back down. If this throw is on the fly, Vladdy is out. But it bounced, and he has a stolen base.
Boy, so he's got 2 hits. He's thrown out a runner at third. He's been thrown out at third for the 3rd out of an inning, and he's got a stolen base. Vladdy's had an eventful 4 innings.
He has done a little bit of everything, and it's not all been positive, but a couple of hits. You see, for his career, you want it to be around 75-80%, and he's under that total.
He's saying to Bo, bring me around right now. I got into scoring position for you. Bring me in.
It was interesting that Kisner called timeout with Vladdy at second base. They've been using pitch count, and this is when it's most effective, is when there's a runner at second base. But he went out there for some reason just to remind Wainwright of something, but they still are using pitch count.
Wainwright got Bichette on a curveball down and out of the zone to strike him out in his first at bat.
See, he's already shaking the signs off, so he's still using pitch count here. And now you can see the catcher going to the transmitter.
Boy, the last thing you're looking for is a fastball down the middle.
Yeah, and then one thing you have to tell yourself is, if I do get a fastball, it's not hard enough, I can fight it off. But you just got to think off speed against Wainwright.
This one's going to roll into shallow left. Guerrero around third and will come in to score. That's an RBI single for Bichette to get the Blue Jays on the board.
Boy, Vladdy got a great break. He's not fast by any means, but he's a pretty good base runner. And he knows with 2 strikes he's going to be on contact. And running from second base, you can see where the ball's flight coming. And he knows that Bo's going to swing at this pitch. Quickly breaks on contact, and that ball doesn't go far. It gets past Edman. He knocks it down and tries to make the throw to the plate. But because Vladdy got such a great jump, there is no play at home. Edman slows it down, stays after it, but Vladdy got a good jump and scores the first Blue Jay run. Another RBI for Bo. That gives him 53.
So now Teoscar Hernandez as Bichette draws a throw. Teoscar lined out to short in his first at bat tonight. Couple of throws to first. Bo's 7 for 13 stealing on the season. And the Cardinals thinking he might try to get himself into scoring position.
It's interesting, Wainwright made 2 throws to first base, and we talked about how often he pitched to Yadi Molina. He never had to throw to first base with Molina catching. Since 2005, the Cardinals have had 500 fewer stolen base attempts than the next team. 500.
And you're not saying it's because their pitchers do a good job holding guys up.
No, it's because Yadi Molina just eliminated the running game, and Wainwright pitched to him so often it's rare that he's thought about throwing to first base, but he has to do that now without Molina. .500 fewer stolen base attempts than Arizona, who was second since 2005.
Well hit ball to right center, but Carlson will run it down. And that'll end the inning. Guerrero and Bichette, though, combined for a run, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
I don't know what you've been told.
13th, when the Cleveland Guardians are in town, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Victory Vlad bobblehead presented by DoorDash. The bobblehead captures Vladdy's unique way of celebrating a victory. Hat on backwards, shirt untucked. You know the deal. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at BlueJays.com. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, Arash Madani, Jamie Campbell, Joe Siddle here as well for Blue Jays Central. The Cardinals 2 and the Blue Jays 1. Top of the 5th as Nolan Gorman leads it off against Kevin Gausman. Gorman a base hit, stole the base, scored a run back in the 3rd. And Gausman in front 0-2.
Utilizing that fastball very effectively, and he was able to jam Gorman bottom of the order. This is where the dominant pitchers really make sure that they don't give up anything in the bottom of the order. Gorman singled, as Dan mentioned, stole a base, and then scored the first Cardinal run back in the 3rd inning.
That's a good take right there, because well, that's a good pitch from Gausman. He's gotten some swings and misses on the splitter down there tonight.
That was one of his better splitters right there. It had a real good late movement, and Gorman was able to lay off.
That one a little bit further outside, 2-2. A well hit ball to the opposite field and gone. Nolan Gorman showing you some of that power we were talking about a little bit earlier. His 10th home run of the season. This one to the opposite field, and it is 3-1 Cardinals.
Well, and Kevin Gausman has been very good at keeping the ball in the ballpark, but he gave up 2 home runs in that start on Friday in Boston, albeit he had a 14-0 lead when he gave up those 2 home runs in the 4th inning. And this is a 4-seam fastball down, and Gorman does a good job. I mean, that's not a bad pitch. It's probably knee-high, outer part of the plate, but boy, he shows you a lot of strength to the opposite field as he comes up with a big home run to get a run back for the Cardinals. Now, it once again is a 2-run lead for St. Louis.
Andrew Kisner, the catcher, is up now. Hit a fly ball to center his first time up. You know, a lot of talk, we talked about this briefly last night, that the Cardinals might be the front runners for Juan Soto. They've got a lot of good prospects and some good young players already in the majors, like that guy. He's only been in the majors for a couple of months. You want to get a guy like Juan Soto, you're going to have to give up some good young players. And I would imagine if those 2 teams are talking, that Nolan Gorman's name has come up.
That's a good call, Dan. Certainly is. And they've got depth in the middle of the diamond.
Down the right field line, and that is a fair ball. And it'll be a double for Kisner.
Yeah, the bottom of the order now, 3 for 4 in their 2 at bats, 8 and 9. Gorman's got 2 hits. Kisner has a double here with nobody out, and they'll have a short meeting on the mound. Another 4-seam fastball, and again, that ball a little bit more inside than they wanted it, and Kisner's able to line it down the right side. Ball takes a bounce into the seats, and it'll be a ground rule double. Just the 6th double of the season for the catcher.
So 3 runs on 8 hits now for the Cardinals. As it comes around to the top of the order again, Tommy Edman 0 for 2 and a couple of strikeouts. And a bunt attempt there by Edman, but he fouls it back. And that last hit, that got the phone ringing down to the bullpen. Trevor Richards is starting to throw.
Eight hits now for St. Louis. And they've done a pretty good job of taking advantage of balls that have been out over the heart of the plate.
Again, thinking bunt, but he's jabbing at it, and he fouled it back again. 0-2.
Yeah, you're right. He's kind of poking at it instead of just catching it with the barrel of the bat. And they jab at it, you got a chance to pop it up, and he's fortunate he's able to pop it up, but he popped it away from any harm as he fouled it back. But that wasn't a very good bunt attempt. Both of them kind of jabbed at, as you mentioned.
Jansen didn't know he had it, but he had it. And Gosman didn't like that baseball, asked for another one. Two and two. They were chasing that early. They're not chasing it as much the last couple of innings.
And again, it gets back to you have to throw enough fastballs in the strike zone to make the hitters aware, initiate that swing, and that's when the splitter becomes more effective, when you throw a lot of fastball strikes. Get them into a swing mode.
Got him this time. Strikes out Edman for the 3rd time tonight.
All 3 times have been on the split-fingered fastball. Evans packs that lumber back to the dugout for a 3rd straight at bat. And you can see the movement starts in the zone and breaks down and away dramatically. You can see his thumb is up high on the side of the baseball, and that's what gets that great movement down and away.
Six strikeouts now for Gosman through 4 1/3. And here's Dylan Carlson, 1 for 2, had an RBI double his last time up. Did not go, says Laz Diaz. Ball 1. Carlson's had 3 hits in the series. Each of them has driven in a run, a homer obviously, and a single last night, and then the double here tonight. Shift on the infield, around to the opposite field, out in the outfield. That time he'll chase that high fastball, 1-1.
Yeah, and again, Gosman's location has been a little bit off. They were trying to get that ball a little more inside. It's effective because it gets the swing and miss. I think that location hasn't been as keen as we've seen over the last 5 starts from Gosman.
Left center field, and Springer is there. The runner at second, Kisner, will tag, and he'll come on over to third with 2 down.
If your skills range from ordering tacos on a Wednesday to getting Corona on tap, You belong at Boston Pizza, where those in the know patio.
Cardinals 3 and the Blue Jays 1. Middle innings here at the Rogers Center. The Detroit Tigers coming to town for 4 games beginning tomorrow night. Pitching matchups have been announced, and it is official. Yusei Kikuchi is going to start the game tomorrow night. Alek Manoah will start Friday. Ross Stripling Saturday afternoon. Jose Barrios Sunday afternoon. Drew Hutchison is getting a start in the series for the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers have really been hit by the injury bug. They have lost some of their young pitching prospects to the injury list. Casey Mize, Matt Manning, both dealing with injuries.
You and I were talking about, I don't think either one of us can believe the fact that Tarek Skubal's name has come up as maybe a guy that the Tigers are going to trade. How good he is, how young he is. I think he might be arbitration eligible just this year for the first time. Like, he's not making any money right now. Like, that's a build-around guy.
He's 25 years old, and I'm surprised the name is out there. But I think because there are so few pitching options that people look at a 25-year-old. And, you know, Detroit is kind of thin in their position player talent pool, despite the fact that they've got Riley Green and they just sent Torkelson back down, a couple of #1 picks, but they need more depth. I don't think they're going to trade him.
They'll trade some relievers.
No, they're not going to trade a starter. But that's their strength. Young pitching prospects. You get 4 or 5 guys from your system that are in your rotation, you're in pretty good shape.
I think a lot of people, including those in Detroit, thought the Tigers would be a little bit further along than they are right now. They're 19 games under the 500 mark. This looked like it might be the, you know, get over the 500, maybe fringy contender year for the Tigers, as O'Neill draws a walk to keep the inning going here against Gausman. And John Schneider is coming out. Albert Pujols is coming up, and here comes interim manager John Schneider. Trevor Richards has been up, and that's the move to the pen. That is going to be all for Gausman here, as he will not get through 5 innings. 3-1 Cardinals, 2 on, 2 out. Richards in from the pen. This weekend. Don't miss the German Super Cup Saturday at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 in the morning Pacific on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. So the Blue Jays into the bullpen here in a key spot. 2 on, 2 out, down a couple in the 5th inning, and here's Trevor Richards.
Yeah, Richards is in trying to close out this inning, and he's actually pitched well recently. He went on the IL for a while, and he didn't have that great movement on the changeup in the middle of the season, but its changeup has come back, and Richards has done a pretty good job of stranding base runners when he inherits base runners. Only 4 of 13 have come in to score.
Albert Pujols, the batter, a single and a double off Gausman. The single into left field, the double a bouncer over the first base bag down the right field line. And he takes ball 1 outside.
I know Richards' strength is his changeup, but I would be more likely to use the fastball in this situation because Pujols is a pretty good off-speed hitter, especially with runners in scoring position. Remember, Pujols poked an RBI single through the vacated right side of the infield, and the Blue Jays continue to play him in that shift. So he got a big gap there, and he hit a ground ball through that side of the infield back in the 3rd inning in last night's game for an RBI single.
And he hits this ball well. Center field and gone. Up into the WestJet flight deck, the 2nd level. Career home run number 686 for Albert Pujols to make it a 6-1 game.
Pujols has driven in 4 runs in the 2 games, and there are the numbers Dan was talking about. 5th all time in the home run list. He's a long shot to get to 700. But boy, oh boy, put a charge in that one. They went with the fastball, and it was down, but Pujols got to it, and he knew immediately. He's hit so many of them he can recognize, and you can hear the distinct crack of the bat. He squared it up and hit it right on the barrel.
Pretty good for 42, huh? To still be able to do that. He hit that ball a long way.
Got 5 RBIs in the 2 games. And he crushed that ball. For the season, that's home run number 7 for Pujols.
439 feet.
Well, you can hear the crack of the bat, and that's right on the barrel into the WestJet flight deck.
Up the middle, off the glove of Chapman, and by the time he can catch up to it, Donovan's going to be safe at first with a base hit.
Yeah, Matt had to make a do-or-die effort. It was an in-between hop. He tries to come in and get it on the short hop, then swipes at it. You can see that ball, once it hits his glove, goes too far away from him to make a play on it. But he has it go off the heel of his glove, and he knocked it too far away from himself to make a play. It'll be a base hit for Donovan. His second is he has gone 2 for 3.
The 10th hit of the night now for the Cardinals. Here's Corey Dickerson, 0 for 2. The home run by Pujols closes the books on Kevin Gausman, who ends up getting charged with 5 earned runs through 4 2/3. At times had the really good stuff, got a lot of chase on the splitter. But first couple of innings went extremely well, but they just didn't chase as much after that and squared some balls up.
The bottom 3 in the Cardinal order had 4 hits against Gausman, and that cost him because then you get back to the top of the order. And Carlson had an RBI double, and Pujols was driven in 4. Single and a 3-run homer. And Pujols is 3 for 3. Not supposed to do that when you're that old, right?
Oldest active player in the majors. Oh, 2 to Dickerson upcoming. Well, the Blue Jays offense has been on fire during this 7-game winning streak. They got their work cut out for them, but they've still got a lot of outs to play with here. They'll try to mount a big comeback against St. Louis. Bounce to Bichette. He's got to wait a long time for it, but will just get Dickerson to retire the side. Albert Pujols with a long homer, 6-1 Cardinals, as we get an update with Jamie Campbell. Is adding this hat to your collection, whether it's at the beach, the park, or just for everyday life, this hat is sure to keep you cool. Saturday, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays floppy hat. The Tigers are in town. Get your tickets today at BlueJays.com. So it is now 6-1 for the Cardinals. A 4-run top of the 5th. Couple of homers, Nolan Gorman and Albert Pujols. And it'll be Cavan Biggio, Matt Chapman, and Danny Jansen coming up for the Blue Jays against a very effective Adam Wainwright. Through 4 innings, 1 run on 3 hits, has not walked a batter. He has struck out 3. Got Biggio looking his first time up. And starts him with a strike here.
Now, what Wainwright has been is he's been unpredictable. He's used all of his pitches very effectively, and you haven't really been able to establish that he's going to fall into a pattern, using all of his pitches and throwing them all for strikes.
Tied him up with a cutter in, 0-2. His first year, his rookie season in the big leagues, out of necessity, he pitched as the closer for the Cardinals all the way to a World Series championship.
Got the final out of that World Series against Carlos Beltran, I believe.
And I think that was the NLCS.
Beltran
was
the
Met,
Mets
right?
and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Frozen with that big 12-6.
Yep.
I mean, he was just a big kid then, and he was getting huge outs in the playoffs for him.
Pretty good pitch right there. Just missed the outside corner. And you know, Wainwright, we'll talk an awful lot about the former Blue Jay and Cardinal, Chris Carpenter. And Carpenter missed Wainwright's first couple of years with injuries, but then came back and won a Cy Young Award. And Wainwright copied a lot that Carpenter did as far as workouts, approach, pitching philosophies. Chris Carpenter had a pretty positive impact on Adam Wainwright.
Second time that Biggio strikes out tonight. This time Wainwright gets him on a curveball.
That's a typical 12-6 curveball right there. You can see how he had that middle finger on the long seam of that baseball and gets great dramatic 12-6 break on the pitch. And he's a big, tall guy, and he gets a lot of leverage when he throws that hook. It's pretty effective.
That was his 5th strikeout of the night and career strikeout number 2,100 for Adam Wainwright. He got Matt Chapman swinging in the 3rd. Seven there on a fastball.
There was something there that's kind of a tip-off. He had 2 yeses, one for fastball and second one for location, and that's a tip-off. And pitchers will fall into that habit once in a while when they nod yes twice.
You mean as a hitter, if there are 2 nods, you can be pretty sure it's a fastball?
Chances are it's going to be a fastball. Yes, I like the call, and yes, I like the location, because you're not necessarily going to call for location on anything other than a fastball.
Yanked to left, a base hit. And Chapman aboard with 1 out here in the 5th.
Boy, Chapman got to that ball very easily, and we've talked about the adjustments he's made. He's into his legs a little bit more. He's got a better athletic position. And watch how he really gets to this pitch easily, and it's on the inside part of the plate at 90 miles an hour. And initially off the bat, he thought it might be an extra base hit as he hustled up the line, but they were able to play it back in very quickly. 1 out single for Matt.
Danny Jansen, the batter. Jansen hit a fly ball to center his first time up. Jansen at 241 on the season, but with all the power that he has shown, the OPS is over 900. He's slugging almost 600. He's hit 9 home runs, very limited at bats this year. Two balls and a strike.
Danny came into this season with one thing on his mind. He felt like he was going to get back to pulling the ball. He said that way back in spring training, and other than a couple of stints on the IL, I mean, he's having a terrific start to his season with the power for sure.
And this one gives it a ride to right center, but Carlson is there and will make the catch 2 down. Wainwright, by virtue of being around for so long and being as good as he has been for so long, he He's part of a pretty impressive group. Look at these 5 guys on this list for the most wins among active pitchers.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Verlander, Greinke, Scherzer, Kershaw. I would say 4 of those 5 are locked to be Hall of Famers. And I think Adam Wainwright, 190 wins, but I just don't know that he is the type of guy that's going to be a lock to be a Hall of Famer. I think the other 4 are pretty much locks to go into the Hall of Fame when they become eligible.
Yeah, Verlander, Scherzer, and Kershaw have done everything you can do as pitchers. And I'm with you. I think Greinke gets in.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a first ballot guy, but I think he.
I think he's had. I mean, he's certainly along the lines of a Mike Messina.
Here's Raimel Tapia. 0 for 1 on a ground ball to short.
You know, Wainwright. You know, you mentioned that start back in June of 2010 where he gave up 3 home runs, and that might have been the difference between Roy Halladay winning the Cy Young Award and Adam Wainwright, because that was one of the few clunkers that he had that season when he was terrific. And of course, the late Roy Halladay won the Cy Young Award pitching for the Phillies. He's been a good pitcher for a long time, and just one of those guys that you kind of respect, even if you haven't had a chance to watch him a lot or had a chance to meet him, because he does everything with a very professional approach.
Cy Young runner-up twice, finished 3rd in 2 other years. Pitched over 200 innings last year. Tapia up the middle. Edman back to his feet, not going to get him with the speed of Tapia. It'll be an infield hit. Chapman to second.
Again, that's what we have seen more often than not from Raimel Tapia, the ability to get on base and turn the lineup over. And this is a pretty good play by the shortstop. Edman gets to the ball quickly, but the speed of Tapia allows him to beat it out easily. And he can see the play all in front of him, knows that the shortstop has to leave his feet, and the throw not dealing in time. So 2 aboard for George Springer, who hit the grand slam last night. Here's a chance for the Blue Jays to get right back in the middle of this game.
A couple of pretty hard hit balls down to 3rd by Springer tonight, but Brendan Donovan's been up to the task on each of them. Takes down and away. With the 2 ground outs tonight, Springer now 0 for 5 in his career against Wainwright. Curveball, 1-1. Boy, he can flip it in there for a strike anytime he wants.
Well, and that was in a great location too, because it looked like Springer was sitting soft, looking for something soft, and had a pretty good cut at it. His timing was pretty good, but the dramatic break takes it down and away, and Springer is still out in front of it.
One and 2 on Springer. David Phelps now up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Curveball again, and he strikes out Springer. Number 6 on the night for Wainwright. 6-1 Cardinals at the end of 5.
One prospect in the game by Baseball America. Moreno, of course, had a run of 18 games with the big league club before being optioned down a couple of weeks ago. The Blue Jays were impressed with what they saw, that things didn't speed up on him, that Moreno was able to handle advanced scouting reports and all the different pitchers. And Ross Atkins had this to say, that Moreno was able to work through the information, still remain an athlete, and do a great job controlling the running game. The Blue Jays actually felt he did better than expected. OPS of 593 when he was up here. And Dan, tell you what, those are the top 3 there. If the entire industry didn't know about Gabby before,
They do now.
Yeah, pretty heady stuff to have someone like an entity like Baseball America, which puts a lot of work into it, to anoint Moreno was the #1 overall prospect in baseball. And assuming he is still with the Jays, and I think he will be, as it not get traded, you know, he'd wind up back in the majors in September, I would think, when the rosters expand. They only expand by a couple of spots on the roster, but you would think Moreno would be back. But I think the Blue Jays saw a lot of things that they liked when he was up, and saw some things where he needs a few more reps down in the minor leagues. Lars Nootbaar leads off the 6th and pops one a mile high for Matt Chapman, 1 down.
Well, with Moreno, I think, as Raj said, I think he actually was a little bit better than they expected he might be. He handles himself very well. He's a former infielder that made the position change back behind the plate. And they didn't have a chance to see him a lot in spring training because he was dealing with visa issues. He couldn't get out of Venezuela as quickly as he wanted to, so he never really reported to the big club in spring training. He starts spring training in the minor leagues. So he's an interesting guy that can really catch.
Hit a home run for the Bisons tonight, his 2nd of the season. Showed some power last year at Double-A. Did not show much power at all at Triple-A this year or with the Blue Jays, but hit a home run tonight for the Bisons. A high strike call there. 0-2 now on Nolan Gorman, who's 2 for 2, including a home run his last time up. Checked his swing on a changeup.
Gorman, really a top prospect, and you mentioned this in his last at bat, that the Cardinals have a lot of depth in the middle of the diamond. Tommy Edman is the second baseman playing shortstop. Gorman, they've got Brendan Donovan. So if the Cardinals are indeed in talks with the Nationals, you would think that combination of players has got to be involved. Especially Gorman, a guy that's got as much power as he does.
Do you think Soto gets traded by Tuesday?
I do.
Yeah,
I really do. I think there are enough teams that think that he can be a game changer. I think there are enough teams that could handle the contract. And obviously, if you're going to trade for him, you're going to do everything you can to sign him and keep him for the long haul. 23 years old.
A guy that young, that good, with 2.5 years before he becomes a free agent. This doesn't happen.
No, not very often.
2-2.
You know, it's very difficult to compare trades in different generations, but when you think about it, Randy Johnson was traded from Seattle to Houston. Ken Griffey Jr. got traded from Seattle to Cincinnati. And they have traded some marquee players in the past.
Swing and a miss to get Gorman, 2 down. Well, we mentioned the trade deadline. It is just days away. Who's buying? Who's selling? Find out Tuesday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Sportsnet and Sportsnet Now. The deadline is at 6 Eastern Tuesday. The Blue Jays are down at the Trop to play the Rays that night. And you know something's coming. What it is, who knows? But I think everybody assumes a reliever or 2 will be acquired. You know that Ross Atkins is on the phone. He spent some time with the media today and obviously doesn't want to give too much away because you got to play everything, you know, keep everything in tight. But they're looking for help just like they did the last 2 deadlines.
And you know, there are no secrets anymore in baseball. I mean, everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and they know what the organizations are like, the depth of those organizations.
Kisner with a base hit. I keep waiting for the Yankees to do something big and soon because they've lost 9 out of 14 and they've had some injuries in the last week or so.
And that's a concern too, because Stanton goes on the IL with an Achilles injury, and you don't know how significant that could be. I mean, that's a touchy spot to have an injury, and for a big, strong guy, you got to have your foundation underneath you, and the Achilles could be a very sensitive area. But the Yankees are dealing with age, obviously, and that's why a lot of those guys are going down. But they've got Castro on the IL. Green's out for the year. Michael King is out for the year with that broken elbow. Severino is on the IL with a lat strain, and that's not something that's going to heal quickly. And now Giancarlo Stanton with a left Achilles tendonitis. He's on the IL as well.
And they're trailing the Mets tonight. Mets beat them last night, and they're up 2-0 on the Yankees in the 6th inning tonight. Edman with a ground ball to short. Bichette will throw him out, and the side is retired. Bottom 6. Vladdy's going to lead it off when we come back. Games, they have won 9 of the last 10. The offense has been a huge part of it. 81 runs in those last 10 games. This immediately on the heels of losing 9 of their previous 10. A quiet night for the offense tonight, other than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's got 2 hits tonight, and Buck had a home run in last night's game.
Yeah, his first at bat last night, he smokes this ball. It's a no-doubt home run, a 2-run shot. He would race that early 1-0 deficit, and that was home run number 21 for Vladdy Guerrero. 2 more hits tonight. He had a bullet for a double his first time up, and then had a bouncing ball over the third baseman's head in the 4th inning. But here's where the Blue Jays need to do something. 2, 3, 4 in their batting order, and they haven't been able to solve Adam Wainwright yet tonight.
A double and a single for Guerrero tonight. And a pitch in at the knees for a called strike.
You don't see many pitchers like Wainwright anymore. A guy that throws a fastball, a cutter, a slider, curveball, and occasional changeup. I mean, rarely do you see a pitcher that has both a slider and a curveball, but that used to be the norm. It looked like more of a slider there than a cutter.
He's thrown 30 curveballs in this game. And he's thrown it very effectively, and he's thrown it often with 2 strikes. And he did it again. Boy, he's something.
We got Springer to end the 5th with a very good curveball, and here he starts the 6th with the same pitch to Vladdy Guerrero for a strikeout. 7 strikeouts now for Wainwright, and boy, he's just patient as heck with that breaking ball. Oftentimes, pitchers will get in a rush to make it break. Wainwright has thrown it so long and so well that he's very patient with it. He just flips it up there for another strikeout.
Now Alejandro Kirk takes a strike. He's 0 for 2. Five hits on the night for the Blue Jays. 3 of them have been infield hits.
One of the best fastball hitters in baseball, late on a fastball in the low 90s because he's got that curveball on his mind. We're seeing a great illustration of pitching tonight by Adam Wainwright.
Line to third, and another good play made by Donovan. 2 down.
Donovan's been busy. He's made 2 good plays on George Springer in the 1st and 4th on ground balls, and here he dives to his left to take a hit away from Kirk. Alejandro with 2 strikes hits the ball better than anybody in baseball with 2 strikes, and this time he gets victimized by another fine defensive play by Brendan Donovan at 3rd.
So 2 down for Bo Bichette. Struck out in his first at bat, had an infield hit that has driven in the only run of the night for the Blue Jays. That was in his 2nd at bat back in the 4th inning. And both the strikeout and the base hit came on a curveball, as did that first pitch in this at bat. Tried to run it in, but he left it down. A ball and a strike. These young hitters talking to themselves a little bit. They understand what they are seeing here tonight.
Yeah, it's a frustrating at bat against Wainwright.
Looks like Jeremy Beasley will be next. Right center, long run, Carlson, and he made the catch. Well, he covered a lot of ground as the Blue Jays go in order. 6-1 Cardinals at the end of 6. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie and Joe. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is right-hander Jeremy Beasley as he enters this game, his 9th appearance of the season with the Blue Jays, with the Jays down 6-1 as we go to the 7th inning.
Beasley pitched in the game last night as he had closed out that game. He walked a couple, had a strikeout, didn't allow a run, gave up a single. So he's back in here to pitch the 7th inning against St. Louis, and this guy's had a nice night, Dylan Carlson. RBI double, and nice running catch in that last inning.
And he is from Elk Grove, California, one of a number of major leaguers who have attended Elk Grove High School. And folks, if you're watching this game, you are very familiar with 2 of the others. One of them is Rowdy Tellez, who hit 2 homers and drove in 6 incidentally for the Brewers today. The other is sitting to my immediate right. He went to the same high school that John Martinez went to back in the day.
A couple years apart. Just a couple years.
Were you John in high school or were you Buck?
I was John in high school.
Yeah.
I kept looking around for the other Martinez, but he wasn't there. I was John. But I talked to Dylan today about it. He was very gracious. He said, "Oh yeah, I've heard all about you from everybody back in Elk Grove." But it's turned out some pretty good players. Nick Madrigal also came out of there. He went to Oregon State and played, and he went from the White Sox to the Cubs. Derek Hill, prospect outfielder from the Tigers, also from Elk Grove. He played with Rowdy Tellez. But Elk Grove's done a pretty good job recently. And now he's going to wear that one. That curveball comes inside from Beasley and catches him, I believe, on the back foot. So he'll take his base. Second time he's reached base. A little more painful this time than an RBI double he had in the 3rd inning.
Elk Grove just south of Sacramento.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's part of Sacramento now. It's grown into it. When I was there, we had 1 high school. Now they have 9 high schools in their high school district.
So Carlson aboard, and the batter now Tyler O'Neill, 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Fights it off. It's 0-2. A Gold Glove each of the last 2 years for O'Neill, and he finished 8th in MVP balloting in the National League a year ago. That's how good a season he had last season for the Cardinals.
You know, he really got hot when they made a lineup change and put him between Arenado and Goldschmidt, and that's when he really took off and had that great power season.
One-two. Skied to shallow right. Biggio out. Teoscar in. Teoscar the catch as we check in with Arash Madani.
Well, Dan, you were wondering about it earlier. I can tell you Tyler O'Neill is on board for Canada in the World Baseball Classic next spring. He's played in a WBC before on the Pan Am's team in 2015 that won gold. O'Neill's from Maple Ridge, BC, said today the chance to play for the national team doesn't come along too often. And his quote, Dan, was, "Every opportunity I can to play for Team Canada, I am there."
We like to hear it.
It is such a special event, and so many players never had a chance to play on an Olympic team or an international Pan Am game or something like that. But you're hearing more and more. And, you know, of course, Vladdy Guerrero, born in Canada, grew up in Dominican, I think he'd really take a lot of heat if he ever signed up to play for Canada. But boy, wouldn't that be special?
I'm sure Team Canada would welcome him with open arms, but I'm sure the Dominican Republic is going to offer him a spot as well.
Yeah, it's a great tournament and a great opportunity for players to wear that maple leaf on their chest if you're Canadian.
Pujols, who homered his last time up, sends a fly ball to center. That's the first time Albert's been retired tonight. Now 3 for 4. And you know what? Look at him.
Yeah.
He's 42. He's had a million at-bats in the major leagues. He's got 3 hits already tonight, and he's frustrated he didn't do more with that.
And that's what the great ones have always done. When they have 3, they want 4. They never are satisfied. So, I got 3 hits tomorrow. That's great tonight. And, you know, they always want more. That's why they're great.
Here's Brendan Donovan, 2 for 3. And some nice defense down at third. Runner got a huge start. Beasley steps off. Now they got him in a rundown. Chapman back to Vladdy. And he's out of the baseline, says the second base Trip Gibson. So Carlson is out. And that is that. 7th inning stretch here at the ballpark. It's at 12:05. So the outdoor program begins at 10 a.m. around the ballpark. And after the game, if you're 14 and under, you can even run the bases just like the pros do. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets. Adam Wainwright just out there kind of slicing and dicing his way through the Blue Jay lineup tonight. 6 innings. He's allowed just a run on 5 hits. Hasn't walked a batter. Has struck out 7 and has had his typically terrific curveball tonight, which he has used effectively and extensively.
He's coming off his worst start of the season last Friday when he lost to the Reds. He allowed 7 earned runs, including 2 homers and 5 in the third. And he's doing it against a team that scored 10 runs on 14 hits last night. And they haven't been able to sniff anything against Wainwright tonight.
Teoscar Hernandez with a fly ball to fairly deep right field, but there to make the catch is Nootbaar for the first out. Teoscar 0 for 3.
Now, a lot of offers in the lineup tonight, and this lineup, as we mentioned, been very hot, but Wainwright mixing up his pitches very effectively, and he's relying on an old curveball to really help him out.
Kevin Biggio hasn't had any luck against him so far. Strikeout looking in the second, strikeout swinging in the 5th. That's Edman ranging to his left, and he makes a good play to get Biggio by a step, 2 down.
Yeah, they had it played perfectly, and Tommy Edman making his 45th start at shortstop. He's made the most starts at short and the most starts at second for St. Louis this year. While DeYoung started the season as a regular shortstop, he didn't hit a lick, so they made the move and called up Nolan Gorman to play second and moved Tommy Edman to short.
2 down for Matt Chapman, who's 1 for 2. And a base hit to left his last time up. Anthony Banda now getting loose in the Blue Jay bullpen. A string of lefties due up for the Cardinals. Boy, there have been other guys. CC Sabathia comes to mind. You go further back, Frank Tanana. Guys who were flamethrowers, really hard throwers when they were young, who had to completely change the way they go about their business, but were able to do it for many years. And Wainwright's another one.
Yeah, and he just understands that, you know, you have to make adjustments through the course of your career, and you're always not going to be able to blow a fastball by you. Tanana was a great example. I mean, I faced him in '76 when he was right there with Nolan Ryan as far as fastball strikeout capability, and then he morphed into a finesse guy with the Tigers.
Yeah, I remember '87, and he was, I mean, he gave the Blue Jays nightmares, but he was a totally different kind of pitcher then.
Very patient. He, like Wainwright, used a very effective curveball. Yeah, CC's another guy that became very adept at changing speeds and pitching and making quality pitches.
Wainwright strikes out Chapman. Might be the end of his night, and what a night it has been for the almost 41-year-old. 7 really good innings. Cardinals 6 and the Blue Jays 1 as left-hander Anthony Banda checks into the game.
Yeah, Banda was picked up for cash considerations from the Pittsburgh Pirates on the 2nd of July, and he made his Blue Jays debut on the 4th of July at Oakland. Pitched to score the 7th inning, so he is in here to work the 8th. As Beasley pitched an effective inning, and he got the base stealer, Dylan Carlson, to end the inning. So now it'll be Brandon Donovan.
Donovan 2 for 3 on the night. Couple of singles. So you can see a guy who chokes up on the bat just a little bit right from the first pitch of the at-bat. Banda, a fastball changeup guy, has both a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer. He told me a few days ago he and Pete Walker, they've worked on tinkering just a little bit with what he throws to lefties, what he throws to righties, and I don't know, is that a you're staying in, or is that a thanks big fella?
I think it's a you're staying in. I think Alimamo was over to check with his starter Wainwright, and when you look at Adam Wainwright, he's only thrown 99 pitches in 7 innings, so he's got a little bit left in the tank.
The next, if he completes another inning, it'll be 2,500 innings in his major league career. And that shouldn't, of course, be first and foremost on the minds of the decision makers for the Cardinals. But his next start is at home, and it's against the Cubs. And boy, would he get a big ovation after that first inning in the next one. But again, that's, you know, that's not top of mind, I wouldn't think.
No, you don't think about those things in the middle of a game. I think he's thinking about just how effective this is. And there's the manager talking to the pitching coach about their options and whether or not it's prudent to send Wainwright back out there.
They've got an off day tomorrow, and then they begin a series at Washington over the weekend. The Cincinnati, Toronto, Washington trip for the Cardinals. They have a pitcher, a reliever that he didn't pitch last night. Don't know if we'll see him tonight. Johan Oviedo, who was from Cuba, who was reportedly having some visa issues, and it didn't look like he was going to be able to come to Canada. They were in Cincinnati, and I guess they were told if they went to an immigration office in Miami, they might be able to help there. So on Monday, Oviedo flew from Cincinnati to Miami, went and got it taken care of, got his passport renewed, then flew from Miami to Detroit, rented a car, and drove to Toronto to get here for this series. That's a busy off day.
Yeah, it is, man. You got to take care of business, that's for sure. but he is in the bullpen and he is available if needed.
Oviedo looking on as Giovanni Gallegos is up in the bullpen. Leadoff walk to Donovan brings up Corey Dickerson 0 for 3. Big cut and a foul back 0-1. Oh, 2. Breaking ball down and away. That's not something we've seen very much.
No, and you know, you mentioned he's working with Pete Walker. I'm sure they just said, hey, why don't we try this and see if we can't get you another pitch, another dimension to look at. He's got a good arm. And his changeup is very legit, no question about it. But 2 fastballs, a changeup. And maybe now they're going to try to add a slider in the mix.
Fastball line to center for a base hit. It'll bring up Lars Nootbaar with a couple of men on. And time now for our PB&J double play presented by Smucker's Jam and Jif Peanut Butter, the official PB&J of the Toronto Blue Jays.
On the way back in the first inning with 1 out, Vladdy Guerrero tries to tag up on a fly ball off the bat about under Kirk and advance to third base. He lost contact with the base at third. And this is the first inning of a scoreless game. And not exactly what the Blue Jays had hoped for, getting that final out at third, but a double play turned and initiated by Lars Nootbaar, the right fielder.
Squared around a bunt, took a strike. Nootbaar 1 for 3, had an RBI double in the 4th. The Cardinals 3.5 back of the Brewers for top spot in the National League Central. Milwaukee won today. We told you about Rowdy Tellez's big day, a couple of homers as they beat the Twins 10-4. And St. Louis also entering play tonight tied for the 3rd and final wild card spot with the Phillies, but the Phillies beat the Braves tonight 7-2. So is he coming back?
Yeah, the Phillies had a big surge after Joe Girardi got fired, and they made the managerial change as they got hot, and they cooled off a little bit. Tonight they got a good performance from Kyle Gibson, the right-hander, against Charlie Morton of the Braves.
Again, the 0-2, and that's pulled foul. Honda keeps trying different things, and Nootbaar keeps fouling him off.
And pitching in short stints like Honda has done throughout most of his career, you can get by with a couple of different fastballs and a changeup, but you got to be able to locate them. Albert Pujols has had a big 2-game series here in this short, abbreviated 2-gamer. RBI single last night and a 1 for 3 effort. And he's 3 for 4 tonight with 4 RBIs, including a home run.
Off the glove of Banda, and it's going to wind up as an infield hit, and he is frustrated with himself. He knows now if he let it go, that would have been a double play. Bichette was waiting for it.
Yeah, it sure was. And Bo was moving into position to make a play on the grounder, and that was going to be a double play more than likely. But Banda's reaction suggests he should go after this. Watch where Bo is behind the plate. Bo's breaking right toward the ball. Now he's got to change directions after the deflection off the glove of Banda, and all hands are safe. Bo had a beat on it. He was headed up the middle. He knew it was going to be a potential double play, but Banda reaches for it, deflects it off his glove, an infield hit.
So the bases are loaded with nobody out. The Blue Jays will bring the infield in for Nolan Gorman, who is 2 for 3, including a home run. And takes a little bit high, ball 1.
Now, obviously, the Blue Jays with their great offense still within reach of this ball game. It's 5 runs and it's getting late, but the Blue Jays are trying to save a run by playing the infield in here.
Line to second, and Biggio will beat the runner Dickerson back to the bag. That's a double play.
Well, we have seen some outs on the bases tonight that you don't normally see in a Major League game, and that's another one. You freeze on the line drive, and you just don't take that extra step. But Cavan quickly responds after catching the line drive and breaks to the bag. Watch the runner, Dickerson. Boom. One step toward third, it proves fatal, as you just have to freeze on those line drives. I don't care where the infield is. That's the last thing you hear from your coach. Freeze on the line drive, and Cavan's able to turn it into a double play.
So now Banda trying to get out of this. 1st and 3rd, 2 down, and the batter is Andrew Kisner, the catcher, who's 2 for 3. Good change up there, fouled off. 0-1. The Blue Jays will send up Danny Jansen, Raimel Tapia, and George Springer in the bottom of the 8th.
Now they'll get through the meat of the order one more time in this game, so it's important to try to save these base runners here. Looks like Wainwright's coming back.
It does.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's opponent, the Detroit Tigers, they're probably already here. They played a day game at home today against the Padres, beat them. So the Tigers probably already in town, and there's Yusei Kikuchi, who is going to make the start tomorrow night. You see Ross Stripling beside him. Stripling will start on Saturday in the 3rd game of the series. The Blue Jays talking about changing the grip on the slider, trying to make the delivery more athletic, and obviously, I think it's fair to say everybody's in a wait-and-see mode. He's got to go out there and do it. And is it a bigger start than your typical game because of the inconsistencies he's had and because the trade deadline is 6 days away?
I think the second point is a very valid one, because the trade deadline is just looming on Tuesday. And it's kind of interesting, too. The Blue Jays choose to start him, and, you know, you hope he goes out and has a great outing and kind of gains confidence and can carry that through the rest of the season. But at the same time, if he goes out there and has the same issues, now everybody in the trade market is going to know the Blue Jays are really hard pressed to add another pitcher. So it kind of weakens your position as a buyer.
Runner from first will be on the move as Banda strikes out Kisner. On to the bottom of the 8th, 6-1 Cardinals. Older guys for the Cardinals. 42-year-old Albert Pujols, the oldest active player in the majors, 3 hits, including a 439-foot home run into the WestJet flight deck. And soon to be 41-year-old Adam Wainwright, the 4th oldest player in the majors, with 7 innings, allowing just 1 run against arguably the hottest offense in baseball recently.
He was really baffling the Blue Jay hitters all night long. He mixed their pitches very effectively, and they were teammates early on in their career. Once again, they are teammates in Pujols' final season, and Adam Wainwright coming off a tough outing last time out against Cincinnati. Turns things around tonight against a very hot Blue Jays team. Big number for me, no walks, 8 strikeouts. That curveball was very effective as he got 6 strikeouts on his curveball, and now he'll turn it over to the bullpen. First out for the Cardinals will be Giovanni Gallegos, making his 36th appearance of the season. He's had another solid outing, solid season at 362 and an opponent's average of 230. So Blue Jays don't really care who comes out of the bullpen as long as Adam Wainwright doesn't pitch another inning. He was tough.
This guy's very tough on righties. He will face, among the first 3 hitters he faces, 2 righties. Jansen and the left-hand hitting Tapia, then Springer. Just a run on 5 hits for the Blue Jays tonight. 4 singles and a double, after scoring 50 runs in their last 4 games coming into this one.
Adam Wainwright, in line for his 2nd career win against the Blue Jays, had been hit hard against when he faces the Jays in the past. Not the case tonight. He was terrific. Great start for Wainwright.
Jansen 0 for 2 as he takes a strike at the top of the zone. A couple of fly balls to center for Danny tonight. Left center field, Carlson making it look easy. This Friday and Saturday will be the 37th annual Blue Jays Families Fundraising Weekend. Formerly known as the Lady Jays Food Drive, proceeds from the weekend will go to the Jays Care Foundation. Fans attending on the weekend are encouraged to bring toys, games, and new craft supplies that you can drop off on your way into the ballpark. And you can also purchase mystery bags containing an autographed hat by a player, a coach, or an alum. Raimel Tapia, the batter now, 1 for 2, had an infield hit his last time up. Pulls that one foul, 0-2.
Gallegos mixing up very effectively. He had Tapia out in front on an off-speed pitch, and he is able to just get the foul ball, so he jumps ahead. That's what you like out of your bullpen. Come in, throw strikes. Don't give the hitters a chance to get a real good feel on what you're featuring in a given outing.
We were talking about that Met-Yankee game a little bit earlier. The Mets had a 2-0 lead. Max Scherzer, did you tell me it's his birthday today?
Yes.
38? Does that sound right?
I believe he is. Yeah, it is his birthday, and he was pitching pretty well. And
yeah, 7 scoreless innings. But Gleyber Torres hit a 2-run homer off David Peterson in the 8th inning, and the Yankees have tied it at 2. Tapia just kind of flicks his wrists at that one and sends a fly ball to left field. The catch will be made by Tyler O'Neill, 2 down.
Yeah, Scherzer, 38 years old, born in St. Louis.
That's right.
On the 27th of July.
So a couple of quick fly ball outs here in the bottom of the 8th, and here's George Springer 0 for 3. And if indeed this was Luis Castillo's last start for the Reds, it was a good one. 7 innings, 3 runs on 6 hits, picked up the win as the Reds beat the Marlins 5-3. Boy, they must be taking phone calls on him. He's a free agent after next year.
Yeah.
So whoever, if anybody does, trades for him or Frankie Montas, each of them has 1 more year before they become a free agent.
And that was the case with Barrios when he acquired him, and the price for Barrios was 2 top prospects, and Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson.
David Phelps will get the top of the 9th. I mean, those 2 guys are 100% getting traded. You got to believe Castillo and Montas.
Yeah. Because there's so much demand for adding starting pitching, plus the fact you get that extra year of control. And then, 2, you have a chance to convince the player, hey, this is a good place to be, like the Blue Jays did with Barrios. And he's been a good find, and he's in the prime of his career.
This one will drop harmlessly down the line.
Both the 2 prospects that they traded for Barrios are in Double-A, and I noticed that Woods Richardson hasn't pitched since late June. That suggests he is dealing with some sort of injury.
And Martin, the powers never come for him,
No.
right, as a professional.
No. And he was a first-round pick out of Vanderbilt, one of the best collegiate baseball programs in the country.
1-2 again. And a swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. Springer strikes out, and the Blue Jays go down in order. End of 8, 6-1 Cardinals. The 12th is sitcom night here at the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays Friends t-shirt, and there will be sitcom-themed activities and photo ops in the WestJet flight deck. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com. So top 9 here in this one. It is still 6-1 St. Louis. A lot of the damage, as you can see, being done in the 4th inning. The home runs that inning for Nolan O'Gorman and Albert Pujols. And out to work the 9th inning. The 5th pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays is David Phelps.
Phelps pitched an inning in last night's game and threw just 6 pitches to get through that inning. And he has had another terrific season for the Blue Jays and suffered a serious injury. Came back from that, pitched his way onto this team. He's a non-roster invite in spring training, and he's pitched very effectively for the Blue Jays.
And he starts Tommy Edman with a breaking ball in for a strike. Edman 0 for 4 on the night. 3 strikeouts and a ground out. Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill still to come. Fly ball to right field. And right there is Teoscar Hernandez, 1 down. We're back with you tomorrow night as the Blue Jays open up a 4-game series with the Detroit Tigers. And again, Yusei Kikuchi is going to get the start. Blue Jay Central comes your way at 6:30. First pitch at 7:07. There'll be a lot of eyes on Kikuchi tomorrow night to see what the time away did for him, and if he can just give the Blue Jays a solid performance in his return.
Yeah, and they were encouraged by his outing in Buffalo. He threw 5 effective innings in Buffalo. Still had a little issue with the walks. He walked 3 batters in that inning. But they like his stuff. We have seen a good fastball from him in the past and change up at times, but got to throw more strikes. That's the bottom line. They have talked about his delivery and how pleased they are that he's made some adjustments. And the word they use is athletic, the more athletic delivery. So we'll see, and we'll see tomorrow night.
Phelps strikes out Carlson on 3 pitches, 2 down.
Well, David Phelps, he is so valuable for this team, pitching in many different roles. When you're ahead and you need somebody in the 6th or 7th, he can come in and do that. And then when you're behind, he'll come in and give you a very clean inning. And this two-seam fastball, I mean, that is a terrific two-seam fastball. Off the plate to begin with, and then it works its way right onto the inside corner. Makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Curveball for a strike to Tyler O'Neill. Out off right side, 1-2.
Another good fastball right on the corner, and all O'Neill could do is foul it into the seats.
Cutter that he tried to front door over the inside corner, but left it upstairs, 2-2. And he got him. A good inning for David Phelps. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. On to the bottom of the ninth. Chance to win a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. All-Star jersey and signed baseball. Get your 50-50 tickets now, and you could take home this exclusive early bird prize. And oh yeah, the jackpot's over $120,000 and will climb throughout the homestand. Get your tickets at BlueJays.com/5050. Bottom of 9, Cardinals 6 and the Blue Jays 1, and here comes an all-star this year and another one of the hardest throwers in all of baseball, right-hander Ryan Helsley.
Helsley worked in the 8th inning of an all-star game. He got Ty France on a strikeout. Gave up a single to Luis Ariz into left field, then struck out Andrew Benintendi and got Julio Rodriguez to fly out to right field. He'll throw over 100. And we saw Jordan Hicks last night throwing 100 with a two-seam fastball. Helsley will throw a four-seam fastball, and he'll touch 100 plus when he's out there. And it's not a save situation, obviously. He hasn't worked in a while, and he is in here to try to close things out. 6-1 St. Louis.
So if you're Vladdy and company, get it going early against this guy. It's coming in hot. Slider. So Vladdy's thinking fastball. You could see it. But he started him off with a 90-mile-an-hour slider, 0-1.
Last Saturday in Cincinnati, Helsley threw a pitch at 103.4 miles an hour.
Curveball.
Illegal pitch. If you throw 100, you shouldn't be able to throw a curveball. You know, a slider, and now he drops a curveball on him and go, wait a minute, we've been dealing with curveballs all night. That's not fair.
And he located both of them pretty well, too. And of course, when you throw 103, that's what guys come to the plate thinking about.
It's a changeup. He's not wanting to use that fastball, and then Vladdy's gone, nah. I got a slider, I got a curveball, I had to fight off a changeup. Gallegos had a nice inning of work. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. He struck out Springer on a curveball. And that's been a theme tonight for the Cardinals pitchers. Use that curveball.
There's the fastball at 101, hit sharply by Guerrero, but righted Donovan down at third.
Isn't that amazing? Vladdy gets a slider, a curveball, a changeup, and then this right on 101-mile-an-hour fastball. He hits it hard, but right to Donovan, who's had a good night in the field. He's played well over third.
Here's Alejandro Kirk, 0 for 3. And in there for a strike. Kirk a fly ball out, a strikeout, and he lined out to third. Boy, Helsley's numbers off the charts this year. Hits per 9, strikeout to walk ratio, strikeouts per 9, and you only have to watch, well, 6 pitches in this case to see why this guy's had the kind of year that he's had.
Got an ERA of 0.67 coming into this game. 60 strikeouts in 40 2/3 innings this season.
And he's faced 145 batters and struck out 60 of them, and make it 61.
A breaking ball gets Alejandro Kirk, and oh boy, you see 101-mile-an-hour fastball, and then you think, well, he must not have very good breaking pitches, but the breaking pitches we've seen from him have been first class. That's another hard slider at 92 for the strikeout. There's a tight spinning slider. Looks like a fastball out of the hand and then breaks down and away.
So the Blue Jays down to their final out tonight. The batter was Bo Bichette, 1 for 3. An RBI single in the 4th.
I think this is the trend around baseball where teams want these types of arms late in games so you don't have contact. You have swing and a miss pitchers down in your bullpen, and you guarantee yourself you can close out games.
Now, Ross Atkins was asked about that when in his media availability earlier today. Said it's not just velocity, it is, he said exactly what you said, it's the ability to get swing and miss.
Yeah.
Which can come in different shapes and sizes. Right?
Blue Jays saw that in Seattle, and that's a team that has a pretty interesting bullpen. You mentioned the Tigers bullpen, and they've got some good arms down there that might be sought after at the trade deadline. And Baltimore, they've got a pretty good bullpen down there.
2-0 slider fouled off, 2-1.
Oh, Brian O'Nora, he's going to take a walk toward the pitcher after that foul went off the catcher's mask. But, you know, to a man, you know, the Blue Jays, they talk about this. Players always talk about this. Who are we going to get at the trade deadline? You know, nobody wants to see their teammates traded. Nobody wants to lose anybody off this team. But at the same time, everybody knows that there's a postseason berth looming. And whoever's the most aggressive and most successful trade deadline will certainly improve their chances.
Well, if the last couple of years are any indication, moves are coming. I mean, look, Robbie Ray, Taijuan Walker, Ross Stripling, Jose Barrios, all over the last couple of years at the deadline.
Simber and Richards, and you go back. Remember, I'm not sure what year he was, but one year they were in Houston and they didn't make a trade, and the players were very vocal about it.
Swing and a miss. Helsley gets Bichette, and that is the ball game. As the Cardinals earn a split of the series with the Blue Jays. The Jays' 7-game winning streak is over. And Albert Pujols, what a night for him. 3 for 4, including a long home run to center field. Chalk one up for the old fellas tonight. Albert Pujols and Adam Wainwright, both terrific as the Blue Jays now turn their sights to Detroit.
And the Blue Jays just couldn't get anything going. The Cardinals pitchers retired the final 12 Blue Jays of the ball game, and they just couldn't get anything going, and they split the 2-game series. And if it indeed is his last game, Albert Pujols put on a show for the fans here at Rogers Center.
So we'll be back with you tomorrow night as the Jays open up a series with the Tigers. But right now it's time for Sportsnet Central. Let's send you to Jesse and Ivanka.